Hello everybody, this is Gary Hallican here, and today we are looking at Bandai SH Figuarts Eli Ayase from the Love Live anime. So I've only seen the first two episodes of that. It's about a group of high school girls who form a idol group to raise popularity for their high school so they can get more students and the high school won't be closed. Ellie here is the head of the student council, and in the early episodes, she opposes the idea of forming an idol group, but I assume that she joins them later on in the group. We'll see. I'll watch some more episodes sometime. This figure is her in the outfit she's in the opening of the show. They all have pretty similar outfits in the opening. There's 9 main characters, I think. And so they all have a similar outfit to this, doing a dance in the show's opening. There actually is a Figma of this same character that's in the regular school uniform. So I think this one's probably the better choice then, since it's kind of a more unique outfit rather than just the regular school uniform. So the box, normal SH Figuarts box, very compact, not much to it. Some pictures on the back of some of the things she'll be able to do. So we'll see in just a little bit if she's able to do those. Let's take a closer look at the figure. Okay, so here's Ellie as she is right out of the box, and I'll say this figure looks really nice. The detail and the paint are all really good on this. The gold on her chain and bows there is painted really nicely. The red stripes, there's no mistakes there or anything, which is kind of new to me because I'm so used to bootleg figures that this is really kind of nice to have one where all the details and all of the paint are all really nicely done. And it's pretty much impossible to see on camera here, and very hard to see in real life as well, but she actually even has very light green stripes on her blue tie. You can maybe see them a little bit there. So there's a lot of good detail going into this figure. Of course, she is supposed to be an idol singer, and if you're not into that, though, I think this outfit looks suitably uniform-esque or hero-esque that I think she'll probably fit in fine along with any Sailor Scouts or Kamen Riders or Marvel Legends or anything like that. I don't think she'll look too out of place. Her outfit is costumey enough for that, I think. Unfortunately, though, I don't think you'll get her holding any swords or guns or anything because she doesn't come with any holding hands, but we'll see that in a little bit. Let's look next at the articulation, and I want to say that unfortunately, I think she's not quite as articulated as an idol singer probably should be. She's going to be able to pull off some good dance moves, but not any really complicated ones. I feel like she could probably do some of Twice's dances, but she's probably not going to do any of G-Friend's dances, if you know what I mean there. Of course, that's K-pop and not J-pop, and this is a Japanese character, but I know more about K-pop, so those are the references I'm going to use. Anyway, let's look at the articulation. So she can look up about that far, and there's actually a notch in her hair on the back there that fits around the neck, so that helps her to look up a little more than she would otherwise. So she can look up about that far. We can look down about that far, so we've got a pretty good down look there. Of course, the head can turn side to side. We can get a little bit of head tilt from side to side about that far. And the ponytail is on a ball joint too. It can move all around, move up and down, back and forth, and so forth. The bow is just kind of free floating on that joint, so as you move the ponytail, the bow will move around with it. If we come down to her arms can go up about that far, so just past going straight out, so that's pretty good. And they turn at the shoulder. They kind of, as you can see here, they kind of pull down from the shoulder a little bit, and that gets you a little more range of motion, so we can go all the way around. She doesn't have any bicep swivel. The only swiveling there happens at the shoulder, and the elbows only can bend about that far. So you get the double jointed elbow there, but you're not going to get a full hand to the shoulder kind of elbow bend. The hands then can move all around, They can turn, of course, and they can move back and forth like that. So we can get plenty of movement out of the hands. So you aren't really going to get her hand. You can get it across herself about that far. She can salute pretty well, but that's about it. You, again, don't get any bicep swivel or anything like that, just movement at the shoulders. She has no movement at all in the chest. There's no ab joints or anything like that. She does have a twisting at the waist, so we can twist at the waist, but that's about it as far as the upper body goes. And then in the lower body, a lot of these figures have soft material for skirts and the like, but her skirt is actually fairly rigid here, so it's going to hinder her movement quite a bit. It doesn't hinder the right leg all that much, but definitely hinders the left leg. So the left leg, you're only going to be able to get about that far forward, about that far back on the left leg. On her right leg, though, you can get it forward quite a bit more, and if you twist it a little bit, we can get it even further forward, and we can get it back about that far. So the left leg definitely hindered because of the skirt there. The knee is pretty good. We can bend the knee all the way there, so got a very good knee joint. She doesn't really have any thigh swivel or anything. The only swiveling is happening up at the hip, which you do have some pretty good turning there going on. She doesn't have any swiveling in her boots, so her boots don't turn at all. And her feet, they can point up only about that far, down only about that far, and they can move, swivel side to side just a little bit there. So not a whole lot. So she's actually not quite as articulated as you might expect. She does have pretty good movement. I'm sure we'll be able to get her into some good idle poses, and we'll try that here after we look at the accessories. So as an idol singer and not a henshin hero or something like that, Ellie doesn't come with any swords or guns or anything along those lines, but she does come with a truckload of hands. So including the open hands that are on her right out of the package, she has 8 sets of hands altogether. So plenty of things to pull off some good dance moves. So we've got open hands with the fingers spread apart a little bit. We've got closed fist hands. We have kind of your spirit finger hands, open hands with the fingers spread even farther. We've got your finger guns and or your TT hands for, doing I'm like TT, right? More K-pop references. And then we've got your karate chop hands, and we've got sort of the peace sign sort of hands. And then these with the first 2 fingers out together, I guess these are for saluting, something like that. So then they come on this set of detachable pegs here. So presumably if you had all of the Love Live figures, you could stack up a giant tree of hands, and you could kind of twist them and make a spiral sort of thing going on there. And it reminds me a little bit, for some reason, of the bone statues bone columns that you have to fight in Dark Souls in the Giant's Tomb, I think. For some reason, that's what it makes me think of, and I didn't like those very much. But anyway, we've got loads of hands. They switch on and off fairly easily. They're on little ball joints. Just pull one off, you can see the little ball joint there, and then we can pick any other hand, and they go on nice and easily like that, no trouble at all. Other than that, she comes with 3 extra faces. So the one that's on her is just kind of a sort of a neutral face. The eyes are painted really nice on all these faces. She's smiling a little bit there. She comes with 3 extra faces. We've got a face that looks almost the same as the one that's on her. The only difference I can see here is that it's a little bit more somber, maybe. The eyebrows are turned down a little bit. If we look here, the eyebrows are pointing up maybe a little more on the face that's on her. The eyes are maybe open a little less on this one. There's not much difference with that face. She also doesn't stand up very well on her own, but we have an accessory to rectify that we'll see in just a moment. She also has a closed eyes face, so maybe this is for when they're singing a very emotional song and you have to really get into it. You see you've got little earrings painted on there too, so there's a lot of detail that went into these. And then the last face she has is an open mouth singing face, so this is for belting out the high notes in the chorus there. So that's the main part of her accessories. She also comes with a stand. So this stand, I think it's the same stand that comes with the Sailor Scout Figuarts figures, just with different printing on the base. It's a heart-shaped base there, and it's got her name, Ayase, on there. And it's very similar to a Figma stand, except that other than plugging into the back of the figure, it's got this clip here, which just sort of goes around her waist. And it doesn't really hold super tight, but it's good enough to hold her up in any sort of standing positions there. So those are the accessories she comes with. So again, no holding hands, so you couldn't give her any weapons if you wanted to, but it'd probably be easy enough to give her hands from another figure too, if you wanted to do that. So the next we'll see if we can do any good idle dance moves with all those different hands. For instance, she can be like TT. She can also knock on your door, like that. She can also be shy, of course. And I failed to mention to switch the faces, you just take off the front of her hair and pull out the face, put on the new one, which is actually easier said than done on a real figure like this. I'm used to bootlegs where you just tap on their head a little bit and the face falls right off. So this actually takes a little bit of effort to get the face changed. But there she is being shy. And she can send you a signal. And as you might have guessed, Twice is pretty much the only idol group I know anything about. So deal with it. Next we'll have some size comparisons. Okay, so for size comparisons, here is Ellie with SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Black RX. So you can see a little bit of difference in sort of the proportioning for a animation-based Figuarts and a more live-action-based Figuarts. He's a little bit taller than her as well. Definitely would be if he stood up straight. So you can see there the difference there. Here she is with fake Figma archetype next she. So the Figma archetype is definitely a little bit taller, smaller head, different proportionings there. Of course, that's a fake, but that's what the real one would look like as well. So Ellie is, you can see, a little bit shorter. Actually, if I move the stand here, yeah, actually, I think they're about the same height if I move the stand down there. The Figma archetype may be a little bit taller. She's definitely thinner and maybe more realistically proportioned. As always, here she is with a standard 12-ounce beverage can. So especially on the stand, she's just a little bit taller than a 12-ounce beverage can. And here she is, of course, as always, with John Cena, who absolutely dwarfs her. So Cena is much larger than Eli Ayase. So those are some size comparisons, and I'd say overall this figure is pretty neat. It's very well detailed. You can get some good poses out of it, even though she's probably not as articulate as she should be for doing a lot of idle dances. I got this figure on eBay. I only paid about $14, so that's actually pretty cheap for a real Figuarts. And you can tell this one's definitely real when you handle this one compared to the fakes I've got. As you can see here, I can tap on her head all I want, and her hair and face never fall off. So that's really nice. So if you can get this one fairly cheap, I would say to check it out. It'll go just fine with the rest of your figures, or even if they are out of scale. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined to do so. And as always, we'll finish this review with some dramatic poses. First you snap. clap. All right. Baby, this is a song